Dear students, this is the third part of the video Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. Now see the coming of socialism to Europe. Perhaps one of the most far-reaching vision of how society should be structured was socialism. By the mid-19th century in Europe, socialism was a well-known body of ideas that attracted widespread attention. There were many socialists who had different visions for the future. There were many ideas you can say there were many writers, authors who wanted socialism, and through their writings they brought change in the whole world. Let us study one by one. First, Robert Owen. Who was Robert Owen? A leading English manufacturer. He sought to build a cooperative community called New Harmony in Indiana, USA. He wanted to build such kind of community. Other socialists felt that cooperatives could not be built on a wide scale, but he was in that opinion. Next, come to the next writer. In France, Louis Blanc wanted the government to encourage cooperatives and replace capitalist enterprises. Now what he wanted, see, that government should encourage cooperatives. Cooperatives means whatever the private organizations are there, they must not do it alone. They must take the help of government and the private, they must have 50-50 partnership. These are called cooperatives. Otherwise, 2-3 persons should have their share in one organization, and they should have cooperative organizations. And replace means remove the capitalist enterprises. Capitalist, who were the capitalists? The capitalists were the people who had more amount. Capital means amount here. So when they had amount, they used to build factories. They had their manufacturing concerns, producing concerns. So what they were doing, they were hiring the laborers and they were giving very low wages to the people, to their factory workers, and they exploited them. They used to beat them. Nowadays we see that wherever any worker goes, he is respected. Nobody beat them, nobody is doing any torture to them. But in the earlier years, these capitalists, those who were the factory owners, they used to torture their factory workers a lot. So in this case, that's why the writers, many government organizations, they all were against these capitalist enterprises. So what they thought, that there must be cooperatives and there should not be capitalist enterprises. Now, socialists were against private property. That's why, because of these torture, cruelty, atrocities, people were against private property and saw it as the root of all social evils. As the workers have to work under those factory owners, they had to suffer a lot. So socialists, they were against that the private property, and they thought that it is the root of all evils. Some believed in cooperatives and some demanded that government must encourage cooperatives. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels added the industrial society was capitalist. And Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, what they said, that industrial society is capitalist society. I hope you might have been understanding what is capitalist, because those people were the people who were torturing others. See about Friedrich Engels and Marx. These Marx's purest thoughts. Capitalism would be replaced by a socialist collective where all were equal in ownership and rewards of production. What these were saying, that capitalism should be replaced by a socialistic collective. That if socialism will be there, that everything will belong to society, nobody will be the owner, then definitely there will be no evil in the society, there will be no torture of anyone in the society, and everybody will be equal in ownership. So everybody will be equal in ownership, then there will be no uh, atrocities means zulm, and there will be rewards of production, and we will have the production in large scale. These were the Karl Marx purest thoughts. So these thoughts were spreading in Europe, and that's why the ideas of socialism were spreading in Europe. Marx believed that a socialist society would free the workers from capitalism. This would be a communist society. Now, the thoughts of Karl Marx were called as communalism, and what he was thinking, that there will be communist society. Communist means belonging everything to the community. Then people came for supporting socialism, as they understood that socialism will bring happiness in our society. So they started supporting socialism. Socialists formed an organization called Second International to spread socialist ideas. Now these ideas of socialism is spreading in the world. Workers in Germany and England began forming associations to fight for better living conditions. Now, wherever the workers were going to work in the factory owners were not giving them proper shelter. They were giving them long hours to work, and the work was also, if it is hard work, laborious work, then they were not paid properly. They were beaten also to work continuously without taking any rest. No intervals were there during their working hours. In this way, there was so much torture in those days. So now workers, what they did, they started forming their associations to fight for better living conditions. They set up funds for members in distress. Now they were collecting funds for the members in distress who were in need. Then they were thinking to collect some of the amount, so that this amount will help the person in their wrong time, in their hard time. And reduction of working hours, they started demanding reduction in working hours, because their working hours were very lengthy. So they demanded reduction of working hours. And right to vote was not there for workers that time. So they demanded that we must also have right to vote, we should also elect the government, we must also participate in the election. So these all things were going on in Europe. This was the condition of Europe in those days. Now what is Russian Revolution? We will see in the next video. Russian Revolution is nothing but the fall of monarchy. The fall of monarchy means the Tsar was also very cruel. So ultimately he has to put down his monarchy, and this was whatever events were happened, that was known as the Russian Revolution. We will see in the next video. Thank you.